Hello, it's day 14 today, and given that I started yesterday on the basis of increasing 1 rep per day, and yesterday was day 13, and I did 20 reps, it occurred to me, what if I just do the number of reps for the day it is? So it makes it even simpler, then I can keep track, and more importantly, it makes it easier for me to match my progress, right? So today is day 14, so I thought if I do 14 reps with the 4 kg, that's not really going to be adding anything. So instead, today, oh, let's go this way around. Here we go. I have an 8 kg kettlebell. So just zoom in so you can see that it's 8 kg. So with the 8 kg kettlebell, I'm going to start off on 14 reps. And depending on how the wrist feels, because the wrist has been sort of on and off. Like there are certain positions that I'll go to grab something or hold something and it'll be fine, and other times it'll just hurt. So I'm gonna start off with the 8 kg kettlebell on 14 reps. And again, just to remind everybody that's new, um, sort of keeping the hand parallel, bringing it from the shoulder into a straight overhead press motion. For now, just focusing on one exercise every day consistently. And then I have the 4 kg kettlebell here. If for any reason I'm not able to achieve 14 with the 8 kg, then I will swap down to the 4 kg to finish the set. But I'm only doing one set, and the idea is to gradually get to being able to do 365 repetitions in a single turn on each arm. Let's see how that goes by increasing 1 rep per day. So in principle, adding 1 rep per day shouldn't be too much additional effort, and hopefully a day should be enough time to recover, but we'll see. That's why I've got a few different weights to change things up if I need to either increase the intensity or reduce the load. So starting off with the right hand, let's get our ring on to measure heart rate and all of that fun stuff. Not that it really does much, but hey, it's good to have some record. Okay, so we're going to go with 14 on the right hand using an 8 kg, and we're off. 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so that was 14, and it's getting close to my limit there. So that last two was quite an effort. Now with the left hand. I'm going to go a little bit faster with the left just to aim to get to those last 14. Last two are probably going to be the hardest, but let's see how it goes. 14. Okay, so with the left hand, I definitely was pushing it a little bit more with trying to get a bit of momentum and almost twisting the hand a little bit in order to try to get it up. Whereas with the right arm, I was able to relatively consistently just push it straight up. So I feel like there's probably some imbalance between the right and the left, but over time I'm sure that'll get adjusted. But yeah, the left arm definitely needs a little bit more of a concentrated push to get that arm up over the last probably 4 reps. So sort of reps 10 to 14. But I achieved it with the 8 kg weight. So I'm going to stick with the 8 kg for now. And then if at any point I struggle to achieve the number of reps for the day that it is, then I can always fall back to the 4 kg if I need to, at which point I will be focusing on time under pressure in terms of trying to maintain load. And as much as I want to get the reps out, I also want to kind of be building muscle mass. And so that will definitely factor in terms of how fast I do the reps. But it should still work out. Like, one of the things when it comes to exercise and weightlifting, I'm going to just put this on the ground now because I don't really fancy it falling out of my hands, and having just exerted myself, I don't know how tired or how much strength I have or how much time it'll take to recover just yet. But yeah, so one of the premises around sort of building muscle and building strength are that you can either increase the amount of weight that you lift by increasing the weight itself, or you can increase the amount of time that your muscle is under pressure, and by moving slower but with a lighter weight, whilst your movement may be more controlled, you'll have more pressure over time. And so both work in slightly different ways. When you're using a heavier mass, you're going to be breaking the limits of what your strength capabilities are. And when you're lifting with a lighter mass but with time, then you're going to be breaking down the deeper muscle fibers. So there's a principle of sort of there being 3 tiers of muscle fibers. There's the ones on the outside that sort of expire or tire relatively quickly, but then they're really quick to recover as well. So literally like 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and that could be enough for them to start recovering. And then you've got a middle layer of muscle fibers that they're recruited only when the outside layer is kind of completely exhausted. And then that's where some of that strength comes from. And then you've got the third layer of muscle fiber that is only ever recruited when the first and the second layer are completely exhausted. And so that's where maintaining time under load works to basically erode away the strength that you have in your outer layers. And then it reaches those inner layers where, like, they take longer to recover. Like those muscles, when those fibers break, they'll take a much longer period of time to recover. But when they do, your overall strength gains will be higher. Um, so there's like fast twitch and slow twitch. I think that's how they're referred to. And I'll do a bit more research around it. But like the premise, the principle, and this is something that is talked about in Body by Science by Doug McGuff. And he's got a co-author, the name of whom escapes me at the moment. But Body by Science, in there they talk about using slow movements, really maintaining load on the muscle for as long as possible, and then giving yourself up to a week to recover between workouts. So given I'm using the same motion every day on a daily basis, I expect at some stage, um, like something will either continuously grow and expand, or there will be some kind of plateauing of some point. I don't know what might happen. I've never done this before. This is the first time I'm really kind of sort of working on building up a layer of activity and exercise on a daily basis. But my hope is, my aspiration is that it will in time stimulate muscle mass and muscle growth, and then there'll come a point at which I'll be able to just keep maintaining and just keep pushing myself, that like it won't exhaust the muscles, but I'll be able to do the reps. At which point I may then have to look to increase either the intensity by slowing down the motion, or increase the weight to then increase the stress. So both of those are variables that you can use in your own training and in your own exercise routines. For now, I'm deliberately sticking to one activity per day, um, just to start building the habit. So my premise is that by building the habit of doing some activity on a daily basis, I will now start conditioning myself to then exercise on a regular basis. And then as my capacity increases, as my health improves, as my overall well-being increases, then what I do, the nature of activities that I'm doing on a daily basis will change, and therefore I'll be able to do more things and be more active. For now, I'm really just focusing on a single motion, a single movement, mainly to keep it simple. Most of my videos will be shorter than this. I'll literally just be racking up the reps and then calling it a day. But I thought just today I'd expound a little more on the principles behind why I'm doing this, and by sort of keeping it to the number of reps for the day that I'm at, it also kind of, from an accountability perspective, kind of helps me keep in check. So I know that then if I break the cycle of exercise on a daily basis, it means that I have to reset what I'm doing, and then also I'll probably have to start with a different starting weight in order to achieve um, the effects and the results, right? So hopefully I will have by this time next year exceeded my 365 reps per arm in a continuous motion. And it'll be a great challenge to invite others to do once I can do it, right? So I could do 365 reps per arm with an 8 kg kettlebell. How many can you do? And over to you. And hopefully there'll be other benefits of having that muscular strength, having that muscle mass. Muscle as a form of body tissue has actually been shown to secrete certain, what is it called? Not it secretes certain, I think it's the endocrine system, or like it secretes certain molecules that are generally beneficial for your overall health and well-being. And so having muscle um, hormones, that's it. So muscle fibers release certain hormones that the body is able to benefit and use that in its day-to-day activity. And so from a health perspective, the more muscle fiber that you have in your body, as a total sum of physical well-being, the healthier you'll be. So just like fat, it secretes certain hormones, so does muscle. And by having more muscle mass, it has a positive net effect on health. So that's kind of one of the theories that is going around. And I quite like the idea of that. Like the principle of it makes sense, that if you're more muscular, if you've got more muscle, the muscle itself is processing glycogen, so it's using up your glucose stores. It's using food in a form of fuel that's kind of readily available, and it has a supply of it. Um, but yeah, just using your physical well-being as a way of increasing your health and well-being by doing something on a daily basis that's a form of activity. Whilst, some people will be able to jump around and do all the really active stuff, some of us have to kind of factor in other considerations such as physical mass, size, health of your limbs, all of that kind of stuff. And so for those that aren't as physically able, or those people that are struggling with their health or their well-being, um, start with where you are, right? If the most you can do is lift your hand, lift your hand. But lift your hand every day and make it a deliberate, conscious, I'm lifting my hand. And then if you can, maybe grab, a small bottle or something, and then lift that. And if that becomes simpler or something that you can achieve, then maybe fill that bottle with water. Or if the water's too light, maybe use some sand or something heavier. But the premise is that each one of us, no matter where our limitations are, have the capacity to do something. Like, even if, heaven forbid, God forbid, if you're paralyzed from the neck down, that means you've still got this part here above the neck that you can still move or use, right? So you could do something with your eyes, with your nose, with your chin, if you're able to get some motion in. But, God blessing, most of the people watching this will have some health or greater degree of health than I have. And so you'll be able to use your entire body. So if that's the case and you want to join in, then I invite you to consider doing the same thing, but perhaps starting from squat position and putting the kettlebell on the floor, um, lifting it up from a seated squat, lifting it up from the ground, bringing it up to your shoulder, and then lifting it straight up, and then standing and fully extending yourself. If you're able to do that, great. If you're not, then try seated and just lifting the kettlebell from your shoulder. If you've got more strength or you're more able to, then maybe from lower down, sort of have your arm straight, lift the kettlebell up to your shoulder, and then push it straight up. For now, because of my wrist, it's over here actually, the inside of where the thumb is. This part of the wrist here it feels tender. I don't want to this part. So here, as I'm twisting that there, this part is hurting here on the outside of the wrist, along the wrist and sort of the inside of the hand. So because of that, I don't want to overexert my sort of hands at this point in time. So trying to keep as still as possible the hand and the wrist part of the motion and just really focus on the arms. So with that said, I'm gonna love you and leave you all. Have an amazing Sunday. This is day 14 of 365. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have an awesome day, and thank you for watching. Bye.